Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a strategy that might just revolutionize the way you think about business. What if I told you there was a way to make your competition completely irrelevant? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, that's exactly what we're exploring in today's episode as we delve into the groundbreaking book, Blue Ocean Strategy by W. Chan Kim and Renee Mauborgne. Imagine for a moment that you're a business owner. You've been struggling for years, fighting tooth and nail for every customer, every sale, every tiny bit of market share. You're exhausted, your team is burned out, and despite all your efforts, your profits are still razor thin. Now, picture an alternative, a vast open market where demand is created rather than fought over, where the rules are waiting to be set, and where competition is irrelevant. This, my friends, is what Kim and Mauborgne call a blue ocean. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to explore how you can navigate away from the bloody red oceans of existing market space and sail into the clear, blue waters of uncontested markets. We'll dive into the key principles of blue ocean strategy, examine real-world examples of companies that have successfully implemented these ideas, and provide you with practical tools to start reimagining your own business. So, buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey that could completely transform the way you approach strategy and innovation. Let's start by rethinking market boundaries. In traditional strategic thinking, the assumption is that an industry's structural conditions are given and that companies must compete within these established boundaries. This leads to what Kim and Mauborgne call red oceans, markets where industry boundaries are defined and accepted, and the competitive rules of the game are known to all. Picture a literal red ocean for a moment. It's crowded with sharks, all circling the same limited food supply, attacking and counterattacking in a frenzy of competition. The water is stained red with blood. This is the reality for many businesses today. They're stuck in industries where supply exceeds demand, where differentiation is increasingly difficult, and where competing for a greater share of the market means cutthroat competition and diminishing profit margins. But what if there was another way? This is where the concept of blue oceans comes in. Blue oceans are uncontested market spaces, areas where demand is created rather than fought over. In a blue ocean, competition becomes irrelevant because the rules of the game are waiting to be set. The key insight here is that to create a blue ocean, you need to look beyond the accepted boundaries of competition. Instead of benchmarking competitors and trying to outcompete them, blue ocean strategy calls for a different approach, looking across industries and non-customers. Let's consider a fascinating example that illustrates this principle perfectly: Cirque du Soleil. When you think of a circus, what comes to mind? Perhaps clowns, animal acts, three-ring performances. These were the accepted norms of the circus industry for decades. But Cirque du Soleil looked beyond these boundaries and reimagined what a circus could be. Instead of competing head-on with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey's circus, Cirque du Soleil created an entirely new market space that fused elements of traditional circus with the sophistication and artistic qualities of theater. They eliminated costly elements like animal shows and star performers. Instead, they focused on creating a refined watching environment with artistic music and dance, themed theatrical productions, and multiple productions. The result? Cirque du Soleil appealed to a whole new group of customers, adults and corporate clients who were willing to pay a premium for a novel entertainment experience. They didn't steal customers from the traditional circus market. Instead, they created new demand and rapidly achieved strong, profitable growth. This example beautifully illustrates a key principle of blue ocean strategy. Don't benchmark competitors. The goal isn't to beat the competition at their own game, but to create a new game entirely. Cirque du Soleil didn't try to outdo traditional circuses at what they did best. Instead, they redefined what a circus could be, drawing inspiration from theater and creating something entirely new in the process. Now, you might be thinking, that's all well and good for a creative industry like entertainment, but how does this apply to my business? The beauty of blue ocean strategy is that it can be applied across industries. The key is to start thinking differently about your market boundaries. Kim and Mauborgne suggest several approaches to help you do this. One is to look across alternative industries. What are the alternative options your potential customers might consider? For instance, a restaurant doesn't just compete with other restaurants, but with cinemas, bars, and other entertainment options for a night out. Another approach is to look across strategic groups within your industry. These are groups of companies within an industry that pursue a similar strategy. By challenging the assumptions that define these groups, you might uncover new market space. You can also look across the chain of buyers in your industry. Often the purchaser of a product isn't the actual user, and there might be influential parties involved too. By shifting your focus to a different buyer group, you might uncover new opportunities. These are just a few of the 6 paths framework that Kim and Malborn propose for creating blue oceans. The key is to start questioning the assumptions that define your industry and to look beyond your current market boundaries. Now that we've explored how to rethink market boundaries, let's dive into the cornerstone of blue ocean strategy: value innovation. This concept is crucial because it's what separates blue ocean strategic moves from simple tactical improvements or incremental value additions. Value innovation is the simultaneous pursuit of differentiation and low cost, creating a leap in value for both buyers and the company. This might sound paradoxical at first. After all, conventional wisdom tells us that companies must choose between creating greater value for customers at a higher cost or creating reasonable value at a lower cost. But Blue Ocean strategy challenges this assumption. It asserts that it's possible and indeed necessary to pursue both differentiation and low cost simultaneously. This is what creates the conditions for a blue ocean. Let's break this down with a concrete example: Yellowtail wines. In the early 2000s, the American wine industry was intensely competitive. Traditional wine brands were trying to outdo each other by emphasizing the prestige and legacy of their vineyards, the complexity of their wines, and their winemaking expertise. They competed on a wide range of factors, including tannins, oak, complexity, aging qualities, and an elite image. Enter Yellowtail, an Australian wine brand that completely revolutionized the market. Instead of competing on these traditional factors, Yellowtail created a wine that was easy to drink, fun, and adventure-oriented. They eliminated or reduced all the factors the wine industry had long competed on, including the aging quality, above-the-line marketing, and the range of wines offered. Yellowtail focused on 3 key factors: easy drinking, ease of selection, and fun and adventure. They created a wine that was sweet, making it immediately appealing to the average consumer. They drastically reduced the range of wines offered, starting with just a Chardonnay and a Shiraz. And they created a distinctive, colorful label that stood out on the shelves and was easy to remember. The result? Yellowtail appealed not just to traditional wine drinkers, but also to beer and ready-to-drink cocktail drinkers. They expanded the market, bringing in consumers who previously found wine intimidating or unappealing. And they did all this while keeping costs low, allowing them to offer their wines at an attractive price point. This is value innovation in action. Yellowtail didn't just incrementally improve on what existing wine brands were doing. They didn't try to outdo other wines in terms of complexity or prestige. Instead, they redefined what wine could be, creating a leap in value for a broad range of consumers while also keeping their costs low. The Yellowtail example illustrates another key point about Blue Ocean strategy. It's not about technology innovation. Yellowtail didn't succeed because they had some revolutionary new winemaking technology. They succeeded because they linked innovation to value. They understood what would create value for a broad range of consumers and innovated their product and business model accordingly. This focus on value innovation rather than technology innovation is crucial. Too often, companies get caught up in the race for the newest, most advanced technology, assuming that technological superiority will automatically lead to market success. But as Kim and Malborn point out, this is often not the case. What matters is not technology for technology's sake, but innovation that's linked to value. Consider the example of Motorola's Iridium. This was a technological marvel, a phone that could work anywhere on Earth, even in the middle of the ocean or the heart of the desert. But it failed spectacularly. Why? Because it didn't offer value innovation. It was too bulky, too expensive, and didn't work well in buildings or cars, exactly where most people needed to use their phones. Despite its technological superiority, it failed to create value for customers in a way that mattered. The lesson here is clear. Don't focus on winning the technology race. Focus on making the competition irrelevant by creating a leap in value for buyers. This is what will set you apart and create a blue ocean. Now that we understand the importance of value innovation, let's explore some of the tools that Kim and Mauborn provide to help create blue oceans. One of the most powerful is the strategy canvas. The strategy canvas is both a diagnostic and an action framework. It captures the current state of play in the known market space, allowing you to understand where the competition is currently investing and what customers receive from the existing competitive offerings. More importantly, it helps you visualize how to shift your strategy to create a blue ocean. Picture a graph. On the horizontal axis, you list the factors that the industry competes on and invests in. For the wine industry we discussed earlier, this might include things like price, wine complexity, marketing intensity, aging quality, and range of wines offered. The vertical axis captures the offering level that buyers receive across these competing factors. When you plot the major players in your industry on this canvas, you often find that their value curves, the graphic depiction of a company's relative performance across its industry's factors of competition, look very similar. This points to a red ocean of bloody competition, where companies are trapped and competing on the same factors. The goal in creating a blue ocean is to break away from this convergence. You want to create a divergent value curve that stands apart from the competition. This is where the 4 actions framework comes in. The 4 actions framework poses 4 key questions. 1. Which of the factors that the industry takes for granted should be eliminated? 2. Which factors should be reduced well below the industry's standard? 3. Which factors should be raised well above the industry's standard? 4. Which factors should be created that the industry has never offered? Let's apply this to our yellowtail example. They eliminated factors like wine complexity and aging quality. They reduced the range of wines offered and the emphasis on wine prestige. They raised factors like ease of drinking and ease of selection. And they created new factors like fun and adventure in wine drinking. By applying these 4 actions, Yellowtail was able to break away from the competition and create a new value curve that appealed to a broad range of consumers, including many who weren't previously wine drinkers. This framework is powerful because it pushes you to simultaneously pursue differentiation and low cost. By eliminating and reducing certain factors, you can lower costs. By raising and creating other factors, you differentiate your offering. The result is value innovation. Now, let's pause for a moment and consider how you might apply these tools to your own industry. Think about the key competing factors in your industry. What do companies invest in? What do customers receive? If you were to draw a strategy canvas for your industry, what would it look like? Then, apply the 4 actions framework. What factors could you eliminate that your industry takes for granted? What could you reduce far below the industry standard? What could you raise far above the industry standard? And what could you create that your industry has never offered? This exercise can be eye-opening. It often reveals opportunities for value innovation that weren't apparent before. It challenges you to think beyond the accepted boundaries of competition and imagine new possibilities. But creating a blue ocean strategy is only half the battle. The other half, and often the more challenging part, is executing it. This brings us to another crucial aspect of blue ocean strategy: overcoming organizational hurdles and building execution into your strategy. Kim and Mauborn identify 4 key organizational hurdles that can prevent even the best strategies from being executed effectively. These are the cognitive hurdle, the resource hurdle, the motivational hurdle, and the political hurdle. The cognitive hurdle is about waking people up to the need for a strategic shift. Often people are wedded to the status quo and don't see the need for change. The resource hurdle is about limited resources. How do you execute a new strategy when resources are tight? The motivational hurdle is about inspiring key players to move quickly to execute a break from the status quo. And the political hurdle involves navigating the internal politics that can often derail new initiatives. To overcome these hurdles, Kim and Mauborn propose the approach they call tipping point leadership. This approach is based on the idea that in any organization, there are people, acts, and activities that exercise a disproportionate influence on performance. By focusing on these factors, you can overcome organizational hurdles fast and at low cost. For instance, to overcome the cognitive hurdle, tipping point leaders focus on putting managers face to face with their worst operational problems. They don't rely on numbers to make their case, but on experiences that are difficult to ignore or deny. To address the resource hurdle, they focus on hotspots, activities that have low resource input but high potential performance gains, and cold spots, activities that have high resource input but low performance impact. By redistributing resources from cold spots to hot spots, they can execute new strategies even with limited resources. For the motivational hurdle, they focus on kingpins, key influencers in the organization, and place them in a fishbowl where their actions are visible to all. This creates an environment where high performers can shine and laggards feel pressure to improve. And for the political hurdle, they focus on leveraging angels, those who have the most to gain from the new strategy, and silencing devils, those who have the most to lose. They also make sure to secure a consigliere, a politically adept insider who can navigate the organization's landscape. Let's look at a real-world example of how these principles were applied. Salesforce.com. When Salesforce.com entered the customer relationship management (CRM) software market in 1999, it was up against giants like Siebel Systems. The CRM market was dominated by complex, expensive software that required significant IT resources to implement and maintain. Salesforce.com created a blue ocean by offering CRM as a simple, web-based service. They eliminated the complexity and high cost of traditional CRM systems, raised the ease of use and speed of deployment, and created new factors like automatic upgrades and multi-tenant efficiency. But creating this strategy was only part of the challenge. Salesforce.com also had to execute it in the face of significant organizational hurdles. They had to convince potential customers that their web-based model was secure and reliable. They had to motivate their sales team to sell a product with a much lower price point than traditional CRM systems. And they had to navigate the politics of an industry that was deeply invested in the old way of doing things. Salesforce.com overcame these hurdles by focusing on tipping points. They put potential customers face to face with the problems of traditional CRM systems by offering free trials of their service. They focused their resources on developing and improving their core service rather than spreading themselves thin, trying to match all the features of traditional CRM systems. They motivated their sales team by emphasizing the volume of sales they could achieve with an easier-to-sell product. And they leveraged early adopters and tech-savvy companies as champions for their new approach. The result? Salesforce.com not only survived but thrived, growing to become a major player in the CRM market and fundamentally changing the way businesses think about software. This example illustrates a crucial point about blue ocean strategy. Execution is as important as formulation. The best strategy in the world won't succeed if it's not executed effectively. That's why Kim and Malbornia emphasize the importance of building execution into your strategy from the start. This means considering how you'll overcome organizational hurdles as you're developing your strategy, not after. It means thinking about how you'll align your people behind the new strategy, how you'll allocate resources, and how you'll navigate political challenges. By considering these factors up front, you can develop a strategy that's not only innovative, but also executable. As we wrap up our exploration of blue ocean strategy, let's recap the key principles we've covered. 1. Don't compete in existing market space. Instead, create uncontested market space. 2. Don't focus on beating the competition. Make the competition irrelevant. 3. Don't focus on exploiting existing demand. Create and capture new demand. 4. Don't make the value-cost trade-off. Break it by pursuing differentiation and low cost simultaneously. 5. Align your whole system of activities in pursuit of differentiation and low cost. These principles represent a fundamental shift in how we think about strategy. They challenge us to move beyond the zero-sum game of competition and instead focus on value innovation that expands the market and creates new demand. But perhaps the most important takeaway is this. Blue oceans are not about technology innovation or being first to market. They're about value innovation, linking innovation to value in a way that opens up new market space and creates new demand. So, how can you start applying these ideas in your own business? Begin by questioning the strategic logic and business model of your industry. Use tools like the strategy canvas and the 4 actions framework to visualize your current strategy and imagine new possibilities. Think about how you can look across industry boundaries and redefine your market. And remember to build execution into your strategy from the start, considering how you'll overcome organizational hurdles and align your people behind your new direction. The journey to creating a blue ocean isn't always easy. It requires challenging long-held assumptions, thinking creatively, and often taking bold steps into uncharted territory. But as the examples we've discussed show, the potential rewards are enormous. Companies that successfully create blue oceans don't just win market share, they create entirely new markets and leave the competition far behind. As you leave this podcast today, I encourage you to start seeing your business landscape not as a fixed red ocean of competition, but as a vast blue ocean of possibility. Ask yourself, what untapped market space could my company create? What non-customers could we turn into customers? How could we redefine the problem our industry solves and create a leap in value for buyers? Remember, every blue ocean will eventually turn red as competition rushes in. But by mastering the principles and tools of blue ocean strategy, you can develop the skills to continually create new blue oceans, ensuring your company's growth and success for years to come. Before we close, I want to remind you that the link to purchase Blue Ocean Strategy by W. Chan Kim and Renee Mobornya is in the episode description. This book offers a wealth of additional examples, tools, and frameworks that can help you put these ideas into practice. It's a valuable resource for any business leader looking to break out of the red ocean and sail into blue waters. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Blue Ocean Strategy. I hope you found it as inspiring and thought-provoking as I have. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating value, and keep looking for those blue oceans. This is CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf, signing off.